Hi everybody, for this tutorial I'd like to show you how to construct this floor plan. There are two pages. This first page has some overall dimensions, and the second page here is showing some additional dimensions that you'll need in order to construct the interior walls and also placing the fixtures and then the doors and windows. So I'm going to start here, and I'm looking at the overall dimensions. And what I'd like to do is get started with the exterior walls. So I'm going to switch over to AutoCAD. And I have gone ahead and formatted my units. I'll just type that in so that you can see. They're set to architectural. I'll go ahead and click OK. I've also saved the file. Make sure that you are saving it as required according to the instructions. What I'd like to do now is go ahead and create the layers. If I go back to the PDF, it tells me that I'm going to need some layers here. I'm going to start with the layer for the exterior and interior walls. It's going to be A walls. So let me go ahead and minimize that and come on over. You can see my layer properties highlighted, which means it's already on, and I have it docked over on the left-hand side. So I'm going to hover over that, click on the icon to turn on or to create a new layer here. I'm going to call this one A walls and enter. The A is a prefix for architectural. The color, I'm going to switch that, click on the swatch and change it to color number 1, which is red, and click OK. The window collapsed on me before I could set that layer current, so I'll just go ahead and go to the drop down and make that my current layer. And I'd like to go ahead and get started. And I need to zoom out a little bit here, and I really don't know how far to zoom out. So I'm going to do myself a bit of a favor here. I'm going to look at the dimensions, and it says that the overall length of my building here is going to be 54 feet, 6 inches. So I find it easy to type L, enter, and I'll type 54 feet 6. Sorry, I want to pick the start point, which is 0, 0. I want to turn ortho on, and I want to type 54 feet 6, enter, enter. You can see how it's falling off the screen. And then in the other direction, you see that it is 30 feet. So I'll come back over here. I'll type L, enter. I'll go ahead and type 0, 0, enter. And that line is going to go up 30 feet. Enter, enter. And then I'll zoom extents. And then I'll zoom out a little bit. So this is the area that I want to be working in. So I've already established that corner. And when I go to the example, I can see that the point of origin, I do want it to be right there. So how I'm going to proceed is just by putting in the perimeter of my building, or as we like to call it, the footprint. So I need to be 11 foot 6 inches in from that corner, and then I need to go up 8 foot 6 inches. So let me go ahead and start with that. So I'll pan over this way, zoom in here. I'll type L, enter. And I'm simply going to hover right over that endpoint. And I do have O track on. So I'm just going to start moving my cursor over. Ortho is also on. And I'm going to type in 11 feet 6, enter. And then I'll take it straight up in this direction. And I know that that distance is going to be 8 foot 6, enter. And then I'll take it across in this direction. And by the way, I also have perpendicular set as a running object snap. So now I can go ahead and click and then enter. Now the segments here, I don't need them. So I'll go ahead and either trim or use the fillet command. So if I use fillet, I type F, enter, and I would fillet the 2 segments here. If I type TR for trim and enter, I would then just trim it right there and enter. And then I'll pan down and zoom, and I'd like to continue. So looking at the example, that's going to be 8 foot 4 for the exterior wall, and then that's also going to come in 11 foot 6 inches, and then it will go up 13 feet 2. So back to the drawing I go. and I will type L, enter, hovering over this endpoint, and then move my cursor up so that it tracks that endpoint. And I type in 8 foot 4, enter, and I take it across in this direction. And let's see if I hover over this point. Now it's going to give me the midpoint. So I think I need to simply just track this endpoint, take it up. I was hoping I could get the perpendicular, but this will work too. So I'll just simply click here, and then I can take that straight up. Excuse me. I can take that straight up, and it will be 13 feet 2 inches, but I know that that distance is already taken care of by just tracking this endpoint here. You can see it's already showing that to me. So I'll go ahead and click. And then I'll tap the enter key and I can continue, but first I'm going to trim this out. So I'll type TR, enter, trim it right here and enter. Pan that over so that I can continue. I'm going to look at this overall dimension of 38 foot 6 inches so that I can draw that line going all the way across. And then that's going to come down 18 feet. So let me put those two line segments in. So I'll type L, enter from this point, go over a distance of 38 feet 6, enter. And then I'll bring that down 18 feet. And then I can take it across, track this endpoint, move my cursor up. When I get that intersection, I'll go ahead and click, and then I'll click on this endpoint, enter to terminate the command. So that is the overall perimeter of the building. And you can double check by going over to the Home tab, Utilities panel, the measure dropdown, go with the quick measure, and then you can get those dimensions. Just keep moving your cursor around to make sure that you have them. And then I'll tap the escape key. And now I'm going to continue. So according to the handout, the PDF, the exterior walls are going to be 8 inches thick. So here's what I'm going to do. I can offset 8 inches and offset every single segment. And let me just start by showing you what I mean. I'll type O, enter, 8, enter, and I can offset this line to the inside, offset this line to the inside, continue with all the others. And then I would enter, and then I would come back and I would type F for fillet and enter. And I would start to fillet the corners to get them cleaned up. But that's going to take time. So I'm going to take these two segments and delete them. And what I'd like to do is make sure or try to get one offset done. To do that, I need to take all of the lines. So I'm going to highlight them like this, all of them. And then I'm going to type J and enter. So it's going to take the individual line segments and it's going to create one polyline. Now I'm going to offset. So I will type O, enter. It still has the 8-inch dimension. I'll enter. And then I will take the polyline and I will offset it to the inside. And I'll click right here. And I have my exterior walls. I'll go ahead and enter. And then the next thing I'd like to do is take these two polylines. So I'm just going to select them like this. And then I'm going to type X, and that's the keyboard shortcut for explode. So I type X and enter. And now they're back down to being the individual line segments. So I joined them for one purpose only, so I can do an offset. And once I complete that offset, I can go ahead and explode them. So that's a really quick way of getting the exterior walls done. And now that I have that in place, I can proceed with the interior walls. So I'm going to go to the next page, and I have some dimensions here. And I'll go ahead and get started, let's say with this entry closet over here on the left side. So it's an 8-inch exterior wall, it's a 2-foot deep closet, and then it's a 5-inch wall. So let me go ahead and do that now. I'll pan over, zoom in, and then type O, enter, and I'll type in 24 inches, which is the same thing as 2 feet. So 24, enter. I take this line, offset it to the right, click. I'll take the line and move my cursor over to the right, and I'm going to type in 5 and enter, and it will offset 5 inches. And then I'll enter, and then I'll type TR, enter to terminate, or to rather, I'm sorry, type TR to trim the segments at the ends there, and then I'll enter. Now, while I'm here, I can go ahead and put in the opening for the bifold door. And I know that this is going to be the 4-foot bifold door opening. So I'll come back to my AutoCAD drawing. And here's how I'll do it this time. I'll type L for line, enter. I'll find the midpoint, and then I'll go over to the other midpoint and click, and then enter. And then, let me zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to type O for offset and enter. And I need to offset 2 feet in both directions for a total of 4 feet. So it's going to be 2 foot, enter, this line up, and then the same line towards the bottom. And then enter to terminate the command. This line segment, I click on it. I don't need it anymore. I will delete it. And then I'll type TR, enter, and I'll trim the 2 lines and enter. Zoom out, and that takes care of the closet there. And now I will proceed with this area of the bedrooms. So I'll go back to my example, and I look at the dimensions. And yes, I put these dimensions in here on purpose, fractional, so that you know how to type those in when offsetting. So I'll go ahead and offset 11 foot 7.5, and then I can offset 5 inches for that interior partition for the closet. And then I can offset 2 feet and then 5 inches to get me to this location for the bathroom. So I'll start there with those dimensions. So coming over here, let me zoom in, and I will start by typing O, enter, and the distance here is going to be 11 feet 7.5 inches. I don't need to put the inch marks, but this is how you would put it in decimal. 11 feet 7.5 inches, and then enter, and I'll select this line, offset it in that direction. I'll select that line segment, and I will now type 5 and enter. Taking this line segment, offsetting it 2 feet, enter, and then take this line and offset it 5, enter. And then I'll enter to terminate the command. And then what I could do is I can come up here and I can go ahead and type TR, enter, and just trim these segments out like that and enter. Okay. To continue, I'd like to put in the door opening. So I already have this wall coming straight down, and then I need to put in the wall down here that's coming across horizontally. And I know that it's a continuation of that interior wall, so I'll just start there, and then I can offset I can offset 5 inches, and then I can offset 4 feet 4 inches to get the opening, and then I can offset 5 to get that interior wall. So let me do that. So I'm going to take this line and just basically use the grips to bring it all the way across here, and then I will stop it right about here. Let it go to the perpendicular or to the endpoint, that's fine, and give that a click. Tap the escape key. And now I'm going to type O, enter. I'm going to type 5, enter. I'll offset this line up 5 inches, click. Enter to terminate that command, and then type F to fill it, enter, and fill it 2 line segments there. And then I'll focus on this area, so I'll zoom right in. And I know that I need to take this line and offset it up, so I'm going to type O, enter. The distance is going to be 4 feet 4 inches. Enter. So I'll take this line, offset it up 4 feet 4, take the new line and take that and offset it up 5 and enter. And then tap the enter key to terminate the command. And now what I'd like to do is use the fillet command. So I'll type F, enter, fillet, and then I'll enter again to repeat the fillet command. And then I'll zoom out to see where I am with everything. And now it's going to be a matter of cleaning this up. So let me go ahead and type F for fillet down here. Zoom that out. Zoom over here. And then what I'd like to do is go ahead and use the trim command. But this time, when I type trim, TR, enter, instead of picking the segments and instead of using the fence option, I am going to click and drag my cursor so that I can go over the line segments that I would like to trim out. And then I release the mouse and then I enter. So that's a really nice way of doing that. So that takes care of the room itself. Now I want to focus on the openings for the doors. So I'm looking at a note over here and it says that the bifold doors in these bedrooms are going to be 6 feet wide. So I need a 6-foot wide opening. And that opening is going to be centered on this wall. So I'm going to zoom in. And just like I put the other opening in for 4 feet, I have to think about this one and I have to make sure that I offset 3 feet in either side. But instead of drawing a line here at the midpoint, I'm going to track it. So I'm going to type L, enter. And instead of clicking, I track. So I just pause there for a moment and I go straight up and I type 3 feet, enter. So it's offsetting 3 feet from the midpoint. And then I come over here, let it snap to the perpendicular, click, and then enter to terminate the command. And if I want to, I can do the same thing on the other side, either from the midpoint or from this endpoint. So here I'll type L, enter. And if I choose to, I can hover over the midpoint, come straight down, type in 3 feet, or I can hover over this point up here, track that straight down, and type 6 feet, enter. And it actually went in the other direction. I did not want that, so let me try this again. I'm going to type L, enter, hover over this point, bring it straight down like this, go past that midpoint, and it's still tracking, and I'll type 6 feet, enter. There we go. That's better. And then I want to snap to the perpendicular, so I click and enter. And now I'll type TR, enter to trim the line segments. Enter to terminate the command. And then I'll come over here and put in the door opening. And if I look at the dimensions, it says that it is a 2'6" wide door. I need to leave a 4-inch clearance away from the swing side. So I will offset 4 inches, and then it's a 2'6" door, but I have to take into account the 2-inch jamb that I have on both sides. So it's 2'6" plus 2 inches is 2'8", plus 2 inches is 2'10". That's going to be my offset for the entire door opening. So I'll come over here and I will type O for offset. I'm going to offset 4 inches. So I type 4, enter. I select this line, take it up, click, and then I'll pick this line and I will offset it 2 feet 10, enter, and then enter again. Now, I need that line to extend, or I need both lines to extend all the way across, so I will type EX, enter, and I'll extend this one and enter. And then I just want to make sure, okay, that they do end over there. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I am now going to trim. So I'm going to type TR, enter, and I'm going to, again, click, drag, over the segments I want trimmed and then release my mouse button and then enter. And then I can always go double check the measurements, and that is 2'10", and it is 4 inches away from the wall. Tap the escape key and I will continue. Now, as I look at this and I look at the example, I can see that both of the rooms are the same dimension. So I'm going to use the mirror command. So what I'd like to do is mirror quite a few of the lines over here over to the other side. And I do have a line segment right here, so I just have to be mindful of all this. So let me do the following. Let me go ahead and take this line and delete it. And you'll see why in just a little bit. And let me go ahead and continue. Now, I know that it's going to be somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to type MI, enter. I'm going to select the objects, and I'm going to select the lines. Let's just pick the lines right here, and then also this line. And I'll also pick this line, but not that one because I already have that on the opposite side. And then this, I could pick it. I'll just have to do some trimming. So sure, I can do that. So this is what I'd like to offset. Now, I'm sorry, not offset, mirror over to the other side. So I go ahead and enter. And then it says specify the first point of the mirror line. Well, that mirror line is going to be somewhere in the middle here. So I'm going to use something different. Hold down the shift key, right click, release the shift key, and select the option that says mid between 2 points. So when you click on that, what you're going to do is first point of the midpoint. So you're going to pick over here. Click there. And then you're going to come over to the other side. And that's the second point of the midpoint. When you click on it, you notice that it has found that exact midpoint between those 2 points. And then you just have to click either towards the bottom or towards the top. Make sure you're not snapping to anything and give it a click. And then it says erase source object. The answer is going to be no. Click on no. So now I have 2 bedrooms of equal dimension. And then I just need to come in here and do a little bit of cleanup. So I'm going to type TR, enter, and I'll trim this segment, and then I have this other segment floating out there. So I'll just click on it, and that'll basically erase it using the trim command. So this is what I want. I'll go ahead and enter. And then there's a little bit more that needs to be done to the bathroom, but you are going to take the block that I provide of the sample bathroom, and you're going to use that to help you finish. So for now, I'm basically just going to draw a line right here and take it over, enter, so that I can at least close that off. That way I can put the opening in there for the window. All right, the next thing I want to do is provide the line segments to close off the bathroom here. So I'll go ahead and zoom in. I'll type L, enter. And what I'm going to do is just track this point. So I'll hover right here, bring it over, let it find that intersection there and give it a click. And then track it across and let it find the perpendicular and click on that and enter. And then you can offset 5 inches like that, enter. And then type TR, enter to trim the segments here, enter. What I'd like to do now is go ahead and put in the openings for the doors. So I'll go back over here and start with that. Look at my example. And it tells me that I have double doors, 3 double doors, 3-foot wide double doors. So that would be a total of 6 feet. And then I have a 2-inch jamb to also think about on the right, 2-inch jamb on the left. So this opening is going to be a total of 6 feet 4 inches. And it's showing me a dimension here, 3 foot 10 to the center line of that opening. So I'm going to establish that first. I'll go back to my example and I'm going to type O for offset, a distance of 3 foot 10, enter. Select this line segment, offset it to the left, enter to terminate the command. And then I'm going to take the line, click on it, use the grip, click on the grip, and just bring it down like this so that it goes through both of the walls. In fact, it doesn't need to go all the way through. I can just select it here and make sure that it snaps to that perpendicular. That's far enough. I'll tap the escape key now, and then I'm going to offset. So I'm going to type O, enter, and it is a 3 foot door, but make sure to also include the 2 inch jamb. So it's 3 feet 2, enter. Pick the line, take it over to the right, pick the line, take it over to the left, and enter. This line has served its purpose. I'm selecting it and deleting. And now I will continue. I'll zoom in here and I will go ahead and type TR, enter. And I'm going to click and drag my left mouse button through the segments that I want to trim out. And I missed the top one over there, so let me just come across like this. And now release and enter. That is really quick compared to picking the individual segments and also picking the fence option. So try that one again, and it's a little bit of fun if you ask me. So that takes care of the openings there. And now I need to go over and take a look at this opening, and that's going to be a 2 foot 8 window. And if I go to the other drawing that shows me the external or exterior dimensions, it's 19 foot 8.5 to the center of that window. So let me go ahead and find that by offsetting the line. So this is the line, and I need to offset it. So I'm going to type O, enter. And that distance is going to be 19 feet 8, and then I'm going to put a dash or hyphen, 19 feet 8 and 1/2 inch. So you put the fraction. This is how you put in fractions. So 19 feet 8 and ½ inch. Enter. And then I'm just simply going to click over here to the right-hand side. And I have the line. And I've established the center of that opening. And that window on the other page tells me it's a 2 foot 8 window. So half of 2 foot 8 is 1 foot 4. So I'm going to be offsetting 1 foot 4. So I'll zoom in here. I'll type O, enter. 1 foot 4, enter. Select the line over to the right, select the line over to the left, enter. And then I'll pick this line, delete it, and I will now trim. Type TR, enter, and I will click and drag to trim out the segments I don't want. And then release the mouse button, enter, and then I'll pan down here and I'll just simply pick the 2 line segments that are left over and delete them. So that gives me the opening that I want for the window there. By the way, you'll note on the instructions that it's your responsibility to add windows and furniture to the bedrooms. You also need to add windows to the living room and dining room spaces. You'll need to add some steps to this deck here on the opposite side of the entrance, and then you'll need to add steps to the door out off of the kitchen here. So that's up to you to decide how big you want to make your windows. I just put in a couple to show you how you would do it yourself. So I'm going to proceed now with this window opening and then the door opening. So it's telling me that this window opening is 5'6" to the center line. So let me go ahead and identify that 5'6". And what I'm going to do is just come right over here and I'm going to type L, enter, and I'm going to track from this endpoint. I'm going to take that straight up a distance of 5'6", enter, and then I'll go to the perpendicular and then enter. And that window is a 3-foot window opening. So half of 3 feet is 1'6". So I'm going to type O, enter. I will offset 1'6", enter. I will select the line segment, offset it to the top, select the line segment, offset it to the bottom, enter. Select the line and tap the delete key. And then type TR, enter to trim. And this time I'll use the fence to trim the 2 line segments and enter. And now I'm going to focus on the door here. So I'll go to my example and it tells me that it's a 3-foot door and leave 4 inches away from the wall. So back to my example here, I'm going to type L, enter. I will track this endpoint down this way, type 4, enter, and let it snap to the perpendicular, and then enter. A 3-foot door has a 2-inch frame on both sides. So it's 3 feet plus 2 inches plus 2 inches. And that's a total of 3 feet 4. So I'm going to offset 3 feet 4. And I'll take this line segment, offset it down to the bottom in this direction, and click. And then enter. And then type TR, enter. And use the fence option to trim. Enter to terminate the command, and then zoom, extents, and I have my exterior walls. Make sure that you save your file. And the next thing that needs to happen is put in the door and window openings. All right, thank you.